Hi, you guys, and welcome back to Actually It's a Mirror, where I talk news, celebrity gossip, hot topics in these YouTube streets. You name it, I talk about it. Why? Because I love to give my opinion, and actually, it's what a mirror does. So, with that out of the way, I want to get into the most recent testimony that has developed in the Blac Chyna versus Kim, Chloe, Kylie, and Kris Jenner case. This testimony is about Corey Gamble. And when I tell you guys, it is infuriating. The extent, the manner, the gross negligence to which I believe he has taken a stand to give a ridiculous account of the facts is absolutely absurd. And we're going to get into specifically why it's so absurd. But before I get into that, I want to remind you that everything I say here on this channel is allegedly and just my opinion. Why? Because I do not know these people. As always, I don't know these people. It's just my opinion. But I'm going to give it to you straight. So Corey Gamble goes into court today, takes the stand, and is asked to detail a very specific event that he witnessed between Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna. Now, this event has some significant concerning facts, quote unquote, with the facts. Very significant concerning facts. And I cannot wait for Linciani to cross examine him and poke holes in the ridiculous testimony that this man gave. There is a very basic, basic, basic thing that really concerns me about his testimony. He accounts that on December 15th, 2016, he received a phone call from Rob Kardashian just before 7 a.m. He reports that he could hear Chyna screaming in the background and that Chyna was insanely drunk. That is what he reports. You guys, Dream Kardashian was born on November 10th, 2016. So on December 15th, 2016, Dream Kardashian was a little more than 3.5 weeks old. Blac Chyna is photographed breastfeeding her infant daughter at 3.5 weeks old on Instagram, on Twitter. Blac Chyna was a breastfeeding Black mother. So please explain to me how you want to convince me that Chyna went on a binger the night before, got intoxicated, but continue to breastfeed her 3.5 week old baby. Has Dream Kardashian ever been diagnosed with fetal alcohol syndrome? Fetal alcohol poisoning. Is there any diagnosed record? If this is what I'm saying, Blac Chyna is breastfeeding. If you received a call as a mother, as a brother, as a husband, as a boyfriend, if you received a phone call that said Blac Chyna is drunk, she is in a violent rage, and we have a 3-week-old baby in the house. You mean to tell me, Corey Gamble, that you want me to believe that your immediate reaction when there's an infant, a 3-week old infant in danger possibly, because her mother is on a drunken binger, that your immediate course of action was not to telephone the police when you allegedly want to proclaim that this woman has displayed a pattern of behavior in which she has threatened to kill not one but two people in that family. Save it for somebody who is stupid. The idea that Dream Kardashian was only 3 weeks old at the time of this alleged incident leads me to believe that any reasonable person will call the cops. Will call the cops. Any reasonable person, any single one. So your testimony that the police were not called, but instead you drove to the house, parked your vehicle behind Rob's, walked in, and at that moment, Chyna dropped a rod. You also report that there was about 7 feet of distance between Chyna and Rob when you arrived. So why didn't Rob flee the scene? If Rob thought his life was in danger, why would he, before 7 o'clock in the morning, call his mommy to rescue him from a violent situation? Please explain the instances where Rob Kardashian is seen calling his mother to rescue him from a fist fight. He is a grown man. So instead of calling the cops, he called his mother at 6 something in the morning while she was in bed. Kris Jenner has been reported on multiple occasions saying that she starts her day at 4 o'clock in the morning She goes to the gym. She said this is a routine. She was on Ellen saying this most recently. Chris, you got to account for the perjury. I'm on y'all. I'm not playing with y'all people. You was on Ellen, and Ellen asked you your routine, and you said out of your mouth that you start your day at 4 o'clock in the morning every single day for the last like 10 years or something like that. You get out of bed at 4 a.m. So, what were you doing in bed just before 7 a.m., Kris Jenner, when you recently went on Ellen and says you out of bed at 4 every day? What were you doing in bed just before 7 a.m.? Were you in bed, Chris, when you got this call? Corey was beside you? I thought you started your day at 4. I want you to explain. And then Corey gets to the house and decides that he's a vigilante. He the Dark Knight. He got to come saving the day like he Batman or something. Chyna is not as big as Rob. At the time of their dating, Rob was a solid 200 plus pounds. He was pushing 300 solid. Blac Chyna was well in the ones. So you mean to tell me a woman who is 3.5 weeks postpartum, she's 3.5 weeks postpartum, was in a fist fight with a grown man? She's 3.5 weeks postpartum, you guys. It takes 6 weeks for your uterus to deswell. This happened on December 15th, 2016. How was her uterus even remotely prepared for this vigilante fight that you claim went down? She was postpartum, 3.5 weeks, belly swollen, uterus falling out. She probably was still bleeding. And you telling me she was on a drunken binger while simultaneously breastfeeding? I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. The flagrant manner to which they are just lying in rapid fire is bizarre and strange. And it seems to be a common thread between everybody's testimony. Kim, Chloe, Kylie, Chris, Corey, everyone keeps saying we thought she was going to kill somebody. But yet nobody can pull documented evidence of Blac Chyna ever trying to kill anybody. Rob himself gave testimony that she never put her hands on him. So make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me how Blac Chyna was trying to kill somebody. Everybody. She done threatened to kill the whole family, and nobody called the cops. Nobody called the cops. It doesn't make any sense. And you can't convince me in the jury box that a woman who was 3.5 weeks postpartum was on a drunken binger while simultaneously breastfeeding her baby and taking Instagram photos while doing it, nipple in the mouth. You can't convince me of that. And then taking the baby to her 6-week appointment. Tell me something. Here she is, and that like they ain't gonna find alcohol in the blood work. Like you wouldn't get the baby sick. How you breastfeeding and drinking like that, binging to the point where Corey said he smelled alcohol on her breath. So when she woke up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and started doing shots of tequila with an infant baby at home, please save it. I'm not buying it. I think it's a setup. I think that they are trying to get together. Corey is on the payroll, and Corey is in court saying whatever it is Chris is going to need him to say to help them win this case. I hope Linciani does an amazing job on cross-examination, making him account for the details like she made Kylie account for the details. Make them account for the details. Because if Rob had 7 feet of space when you walked in, Rob could have left the house. Rob could have drove to his mother's house. He could have walked out. Why was his first course of action to call his mom and not the cops? Why wasn't it to call security? I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I think Corey Gamble is saying what he needs to say to defend Kris Jenner on the stand, which listen, you're going to stand beside your significant other. But you're going to have to do a lot better convincing me in the jury box that a woman who's 3.5 weeks postpartum is in a violent, drunken rage while simultaneously breastfeeding and bleeding at the same time with a swollen uterus. You can't even move that fast after you postpartum like that. Your whole belly be swollen. You be limping. Everything be coming out of everywhere. Your boobs is leaking. They heavy. And then it's almost like Chyna could be like, she could use the postpartum defense. Like, I'm postpartum, I'm hormonal, and your son is over here wilding out while I'm hormonal. She was heavily postpartum, 3.5 weeks. You still probably could put piss HCG on the piss test. Like, you're not even clean good after the delivery of 3.5 weeks. I need more information. Corey, I'm gonna need for you to come back to the stand and account for this. Because a woman who's 3.5 weeks postpartum ain't moving that fast. I don't know anybody who's 3.5 weeks postpartum that's trying to get into a fist fight with somebody, a whole grown man. I don't know too many people. I don't know too many people. So I'm not buying it. I feel like Corey is giving emotional testimony and exaggerated testimony. And I think Linciani has got to hold him accountable when she gets him in the courtroom and cross examines him. I want to see her press him about these details. And I want her to actually press Blac Chyna about the details. How long did you breastfeed Dream Kardashian? Did any medical professionals ever say that Dream Kardashian was showing signs of being intoxicated by alcohol as a result of her mother nursing and binging? Do we have any evidence? Because I find it hard to believe that Blac Chyna was on a drunken binger and breastfeeding at the same time. The math ain't mathing. I don't believe it. Not with no 3.5 week old baby at home. I just don't. I just don't. She probably was still wearing a diaper at 3.5 weeks. You bleed for 6. Like, you mean to tell me she no? Nope. I don't buy it. I think he's giving emotional, exaggerated testimony. I think he's trying to make it seem like Blac Chyna is this dangerous person, but Blac Chyna does not have a criminal history of violent behavior. But you know who has a criminal history of exploiting women? You know who has a criminal history of exploiting women? Not criminal because he ain't been convicted yet. But you know who got a history of exploiting women? Rob Kardashian. You know who got a history of violence against women? I watched him smack Adrian on the screen. Rob Kardashian. So I don't know. I don't know. I hope Linciani does not let Corey's emotional testimony, acting like he's unbiased, sway the jury. I hope he asks the facts. Chyna, how long did you breastfeed? Did the doctors ever report that Dream had fetal alcohol poisoning? How often were you pumping? I want to know. When you went to your 6 week checkup, did you get blood work? Did you have preeclampsia? Did you have any medical complications at that time that would have required them to draw your blood postpartum? I want to know. I want to know. Those are the questions that I'm asking if I'm on cross with Chyna to defend herself against these wild allegations that Corey has made. In my opinion, they're wild and they're egregious. You didn't go over there and see her with no metal rod and watch her launch it. Come on now, tell me something. And I blocked Rob in. Well, how did Rob leave if you blocked him in? In the beginning of your testimony, you said you blocked him in. By the end of your testimony, you said you held Chyna's keys until he pulled off. How he get out? How he get away? I thought you blocked them in. The math not mathing, Corey. The math is not mathing. So, anywho, let me know in the comment section down below if you believe that Corey Gamble gave an honest account of the events on the day of December 15th, 2016, or if you believe what I believe, which is it's highly unlikely. I'm not going to say impossible because anything's possible. It's highly unlikely that Blac Chyna, who was 3.5 weeks postpartum and actively breastfeeding, was on a drunken binger in which Rob Kardashian had to telephone his mama like he was 4 years old to defend him from his girlfriend who was holding a metal rod, smashing up televisions, and threatening to murder him. These are some hard details that I really want to know. Do you think Blac Chyna made those threats? And, and if she did make those threats, what do you think were the circumstances behind those allegations? What were the circumstances? I want to hear from you in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I'll talk to you guys when more breaking news occurs. Have a great day, guys.